Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. I'm so excited for us to continue our conversation from the last time with my special guest all the way from Nigeria. Her name is Uchechukwu Mojeku. She is the managing consultant of Macarius Consulting. And last time we were talking about breaking free from limiting patterns. And it was quite a powerful stuff. If this is your first time joining this conversation, I'm encouraging you to check what we have done before and just listen to it. It's sitting there on the YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. Look for it, listen to it, watch it, share with your friends, and then get ready for today. And if this is your first time, you can still, connect with what is going to be shared today, but still go back and listen to what has already been shared. I am really excited about the topic today. We are discussing laying the foundation for emotional intelligence. Laying the foundation for emotional intelligence, the key to effective relationships. For me, this is really, 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 really critical. As you know, I am very passionate about relationships and understanding how they work and how to make them better. And tonight we are having a feast in wisdom. My guest has a very, very powerful mind. As you would have noticed if you watched the first episode. And I'm going to bring her on to come tonight to unpack the stuff that she has for us this evening. Uche, good evening. Welcome to tonight's show.
Good evening, Doctor.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
Thank you for sharing your time with us again and sharing your wisdom with our community once again this evening. I'm looking forward to the stuff that you have to share. But before we get into our conversation tonight, can we just pray together? I love for us to just pray. Father, we ask that you bless our time together this evening. We ask for clarity of thought, nimbleness of thought, agility in expression in the name of Jesus. Lord, use Uche tonight to minister to us. Let wisdom flow through her mind. Let your wisdom come through her and bless everyone who's tuned in. And even those who will watch later, just bless everyone who will receive of the counsel that you have for us this evening. We give you praise in advance for what you've done in Jesus' mighty name. And we said a big amen.
Amen.
All right, laying the foundation for emotional intelligence, the key to effective relationships. Over to you, Che.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to have us again today. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Doc, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen very clear.
Fantastic. Yes. So this is the topic for today, laying the foundation for emotional intelligence, the key to effective relationships. I'm sure that it's possible. You must have heard about emotional intelligence somewhere, and then someone is saying, oh, this thing is probably overflowed. Just hold on, right? The interaction, almost everything you're going to get in life is going to come through people. Almost everything that is going to happen for you. I didn't say everything, but I said almost everything that is going to happen to you God is going to make it happen through people. And the interaction between individuals, humans, is what we call relationship, right? And of course, we then know that we are emotional beings. Emotions drive people, and then people drive the bottom line. Almost everything that you're going to get in life is going to come from people. And emotions drive people, and people drive the bottom line. So you see, we're going to come back to this slide, but let's just kind of just do a bit of recap, just 2 minutes. Advise that you go watch that foundation that we laid. It's very, very important, because there's some things that we say today that we're just going to be referring to the conversation we had the last time. Yes. Last time we talked about breaking free from limiting pattern, unlocking your empowerment. We just dissected the conversation around disempowering pattern. Why am I still here? Why is it not working? Trend and all of that. We did all of that dissect last time. So you want to watch it, but I'm just going to do a 2 minutes quick recap. So last week we had explained that typically you came in as this individual without a lot of programming in you. Let's just say tabula rasa, right? And then what happened to you? Upbringing happened to you. Environment, understanding yourself happened to you. Physical environment, training, travel, books, people, and then significant emotional experiences, whether positive or negative, happen to you. But you see, the thing is not that it happened to you. That's not where the meat of the conversation is. It is the interpretation you brought out of those events that you locked down into your conscious mind. That is the problem. And then now listen, some of those events didn't happen once. You didn't learn your language once. It happened through repetition. So remember, interpretation, repetition. So what are we saying? That you came in tabula rasa, more or less empty. And then upbringing happened to you, environment, significant emotional experiences. You interpreted it and associated certain meanings and emotions to them, and then locked it up through repetition in your box, your subconscious mind. But I just want to use the word box here. And that's what we call your internal filter. So if you are going to start to recreate, if you're at any position in your life currently that you really don't like, it is your rule book, and that's what we call rule book, that you need to go and start to work on to say, how did I, which part did I play in bringing this situation? So that's kind of summary of the conversation we had last week. And then when you're storing this information in your brain, you store it as values. You know how you get a laptop and then you set it, you reset it so that it can save, or maybe a cupboard, so you have different shelves for different things. So these are the different shelves in your mind. You have the shelf for value, you have for beliefs, you have for memories, you have for attitude, you have for language. And then all of those things got stored and then started to determine your life effectiveness. So pick this one word, internal filter rule book. We're going to talk a lot about it as we are jumping into emotional intelligence today. So what did we establish last week? That everybody has a unique map of the world. That human relationships starts from respecting and understanding that we all have a map. And what do I call a map? A map is a rule book. A map is a script. A map is a programming. It's a rule book. I have my map. Doctor has his map. Everybody, we all have different maps. I know what? At times, these maps conflict. Effectiveness is understanding how to walk around, navigate your life around these maps as you're meeting people, so that the aim of each meeting, aim of each interaction will be maximized. That is getting a bit complicated, but that is what it is. You can't maximize life if you don't start to pay attention to people's maps. That's why we took our time last week to talk about that. Look at the picture we have right in front of here. Both of them are right. It's just their maps. And the map is not the territory. No, it's not the territory. It's just a representation of a perspective. It's not the Lord. It's not the principle. Your map is not principle. My map is not principle. It's a representation of a perspective. So this would help you become a bit flexible in dealing with life, right? And I wrote here that you can't maximize life if you don't know your map. You see, you need first of all know yours. And then the impact your map has on your intrapersonal conversation, which way I'm good enough, which way you're not good enough, which way you can do this, which way you cannot do this. And then the interpersonal relationships, understanding the power of your map. We took our time last week. That's all that we focused on. And now we are moving forward. So this is where we stopped last week, your rule book. So I don't know if you had watched, have you taken time to really sit down and start to journal? What are those significant events? What are those interpretation you created over events in the past? Is it healings that needs to happen? I was having a serious conversation with some people yesterday, and then I realized that an event that happened 22 years ago, became a rule book, a lens. You see the glasses here? Became a rule book, a lens through which that individual looks at everything in the world. What a slavery. Like, how else do you literally put yourself in a cage and want to move forward? This is the end now where we're in the world now where we need to be creative. It's creativity that sells. Listen, if you don't deal with all of those disempowering maps, you're not going to be creative. You are not going to maximize human relationships. And I'm going to show you how. Because as soon as events occurs, your map goes out first. Understand this. Your map does the first movement. It's when you start to listen to this sort of conversation and start to become intentional to grow. That is the only time that the brain would then override the map. Default response, the map will just show up with its chimp and the emotions and all of the things in the past, trying to advance into the future, sitting in the past. Isn't that madness? Repeating the same pattern, going to church, praying that a miracle happens. Meanwhile, the map is against everything that is required to create that miracle. I mean, simple case in point about maps. You go to church or you go for a training and then they say to you, listen, when you get angry, ensure that you don't express it until after 6 seconds. Simple practice. Oui, yes. Are we going to do it? Yes. Do you think you can? Yes. The moment you step out, your child, or maybe you get into the house, you open the door, your child was carrying a cup of water, cup of hot tea, whatever, and then playing and carelessly somehow is spilled on the training book on the laptop. What would a lot of people do? The map shows surfaces. The training you had just 1 hour ago, entered the mud. So I wish we were saying that this map, this rule book tend to come out first. It's now doing intentionality. They're now building new programs that will now tell you 6 seconds, don't react first. Let this data get to my new cortex. So that's the conversation for today. Yes, how do I move data to my thinking brain every day of my life? How do I move information to my thinking brain every day of my life? Great. So why are you going to listen to this episode? I really need to say this, that the moment the chimp is able to think, we have two brains. So let me go to this one first so that you understand why I am using the word chimp. Let me just find it quickly. Yeah. So you have three layers of the brain, but I'm really going to focus on two. The limbic brain, which is the center of the brain where emotions and reflexes are seated. And I call it the chimp. chimpanzee, just chimp, just to make it look a bit better. And then you have the rational brain, the thinking brain, the knowledge brain, the processing brain. That's the human brain, right? So every time I mention the chimp, know that I'm talking about the emotional brain that does not think. Right. So let's go back to what I was saying earlier. So the moment a chimp is able to think and control emotions and impulses, that moment the chimp will be out of the jungle. Allow that to sit in. It doesn't matter where you live or the circumstances of your birth. The moment you become great at controlling your emotions and impulses, that moment you will alter the energy, the chemistry of your body, and you will turn next to your goal achievement journey. Simple. Simple. So a lot of it's not working, I'm stagnant, I'm depressed, they're all residents in all of the responses and interpretations that you did using your chimp and not your human brain. So you see why we took our time yesterday to explain how we got programmed. Because one very important thing we must understand in this journey is that you're going to be emotionally intelligent, you are going to arrest yourself at the level of interpretation of data. The moment you've interpreted it, you've decided your results. So it is at the moment of interpreting your data. That's why last week we talked about your frame. That's where to start. Changing your frames. That's where to start. The moment you've interpreted data, you have decided the result. Great. Just a bit of, looking back, looking around. Last year in Nigeria, no, that's 2022, yeah? No, 2022, yes. We spent 13% of the country budget on alcohol. 2022, 13.3% of the country budget in alcohol. In 2023, as at September, Nigerian breweries alone did 402 billion. Guinness did about 200 billion in alcohol. And the question I have is, what is chasing us and what are we chasing? And yet, this is a developing country. Now, the other part now is that the comedy business has gone off the roof. It's probably one of the most viable, profitable business around me. I'm not sure, I don't know of South Africa data or any data any other way in the world. For now, for this conversation, what is happening? Humans are escaping. They don't want to face their emotions. They can't face that pain, that dragon, that reality. Now you wonder why a lot of people are leaving the middle class to go down, deeper, down the economic class. And we're not saying that the economy is fantastic, but remember, the moment the chimp can think, that chimp would have the power to change the chemistry and the energy of its body. And then it will start to 10x its goal achievement journey. So yes, you are having issues with your wife, you are going to the bar to drink. One for the road, it's okay. Down here, we call it mortuary standard. When you're done, has the problems changed in any way? The behavior we knew, the interpretation in you that causes that kind of problem, has it changed? No, it means I'm going to repeat it again and 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 again. So start to look back and ask yourself, which role am I playing in the results that I seek, yet I am not getting? How am I enabling this? And it could be at work. It could be at work. Every time you're having issues with your boss or your colleagues, oh, everybody is toxic, right? I see. Because toxic is a word now, is a thing. But hey, I tell people that if everybody around you is toxic, you are the toxic person. That's the truth. Because By the law of projection, that's what you're seeing in people. It's your interpretation. So how do you start to deepen human relationship? By, first of all, deepening relationship with yourself. That's the conversation for today. That's the conversation for today. You can't control the world, but you can control yourself. And that's really where it starts from. So that going forward, you don't use alcohol and what's it called now? Comedy clips to to distract yourself, to distract the ailing and paining hearts, and then expect that some miracle will happen and you will create results. So I've been here already, two parts of the brain, the thinking one and the non-thinking one. Now, the conversation around leadership it's very, very close to emotional intelligence and relationship, because at the end of the day, leadership is about building a certain kind of relationship with people. And I try to redefine leadership in a way that it's more encompassing, to start to look at it from an angle of, I am leading people, I am moving people to do things, and therefore we activate force, threats, power, because we haven't gained influence. So every time we are defining leadership, especially for people that probably grew up in Africa, where what we learned in terms of leadership and authority were threats, force, and fear. Those were the tools that were used. And then we are surprised that we are mass producing adults that are second guessing self. So I try to bring in this topic here just a little to let us understand that leadership is, first of all, your ability to influence yourself in a way that I no longer need to use force, threats, power to get people to do what I want them to do. Yes, influence yourself, activate your human, not your chimp, in a way that if I need my wife or my daughter or my staff to do something, I would no longer need to deploy the forces of threat, power, force, so that I can activate the genius in them. Remember? So every relationship should be such now that when people meet you, they become just a little bit better. I meet Dr. Chus, I become just a little bit better. And then I meet another person, I become just a little bit better. And in doing that consistently, we are raising the collective consciousness of a nation, of a people, of a continent. And then we get better. So you see, every human interaction should be such that I'm going to help you activate just a little of your ingenuity, of the genius in you, because we're all geniuses. We're all geniuses because we are spirit beings and our potentials are infinite. So you need to have that in mind, that going forward, if you're going to be emotionally intelligent, all of the conversations, interactions you're having with human beings going forward should be such that it makes them just a little bit better. Not that it's a new program. You are not going to tell her, you're not going to do it so that she feels terrible. You're not going to give it to her the way you feel, or the way, no. It's all of those conversations. We've had it in the environment. It hasn't taken anybody. It hasn't given you more money. It hasn't made you more successful in your career, literally, by letting people down and speaking to people in ways that it's not making them better. Yesterday, I had a very funny conversation. And when this individual was already hijacked, like God knew we were going to have this conversation today. This individual already hijacked and Rick, and I said, listen, I expect that you hold yourself to a higher standard. I know that you know better, and I want you to act in a way that shows that you really, really honor yourself and hold yourself to a higher. Person was still ranting. I just say that. I'm in my mind, I'm now looking at what I expect you to do as an adult and how you are behaving. And that helps. Because of what? This mantra, activate the genius. And then the other one is saying, so that they become the authentic versions of themselves. Human interaction is not to make people to look like you. No. It's to make them coming into their own. So when you are given, when you are interpreting and giving certain emotional responses, are those responses engineered from a place of this person is not behaving like me? I expect that. I should that. It is, hey, your map is different. Your map is not my map, and the map is not the territory. You see why you need to understand everybody's map? That's a true mark of every individual that will prosper. So you see, it's not your version. It's their version, their most authentic version, so that they can create the desired results. This is my definition of leadership, especially in the African environment. You influence self, deal with your mouth, so that you no longer deploy the tools of power, threat, and fear in getting people to do things, so that you can start to activate their geniuses. Every interaction should make them feel better somehow. And then, as much as you can, and then that it becomes their true version, not your version, so that collectively we win in this continent and beyond. And I just hope that just makes simple sense. So we are diving into emotional intelligence. I'm not going to waste time defining this because I know you can pick that up Google. It's a meta ability determining how we use our other intelligences. We already know that EQ is the strongest driver of leadership and personal excellence. Lack of EQ in an individual brain has the sign. Lack of EQ is a sign that the individual's brain has high level of unregulated responses. Unregulated responses. So one of the things I want you to remember after today is that every time you want to manifest, ask yourself, is this human or chimpanzee? So I say that to myself, I say, which a chimp mode. Keep quiet, 6 seconds, calm down, take this data to your neocortex. That's it. You see, we didn't learn it growing up, but if we are going to create results in life, we're one of the leaders. If we're going to influence people, we need to start to reinstall this again in our lives. Pause before you take action. I remember one day, I was in this whole process. I was still learning. We're in church in Canaan land. And then it's a very big place. And my son, as at the time he was 12, he got lost in that big, massive location. And then the chimp, of course, if I got lost growing up, my mom will lose me. And she will be happy, and I'll be grateful that she punished me. And then I'd already carried, the African mother that I am. But thank God and it's something I'm going to teach us. You see that 10 minutes it took me to trek, the brain recovered. And that one experience I would never forget. So I'm already angry. People were telling me, hey, this boy is dead today. He's dead on arrival. And I just kept going around looking for him. As I was walking around, you see, data was moving. And why was they able to move? Because I already had some knowledge. You see, I already had some knowledge and some level of awareness that the data can anchor on to move. Because if you don't, once you're hijacked, you're hijacked. It's only after about 10 minutes that you now come back to humanity. So what happened that day? As I was working, I noticed that everything I had in my hands, I was dropping them off. I was dropping them off. I was dropping them off. And then next thing he calls me and says, oh, he picked somebody's phone number to use to call me. And then I see him, I said, let's go. Sure, he's in mind, like, what's going on? I said, let's go. And then he followed me. And all through, we got home, ate food. And the next morning, anybody can grow, trust me. Anybody can grow. The next morning, I said, okay, so this thing that happened, because I'd gotten back very late, if you know that journey is very far. So what happened? Blah, 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 blah. So, okay, the thing, you're going to be disciplined for this. So can choose what you want. Okay. About 3 things I wanted him to do that holiday, including reading about 4 books. We agreed. Do you know that all of them, they were done without trying to push? Why? Because for once, not for once, well, but in that instance, I decided to use the brain. So the question is, all of the time that we are deploying responses, are we activating the genius? Are we helping people become their authentic version that will create the results that we are looking for. Take back home. Just take that. Keep it. Good. Trying to define intelligence. Intelligence is the ability is defined as being able to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Good. If your car is bad, you know who to go to, because this individual has taken time to learn about auto mechanic, and then the car fixes cars. And then if you want to fix your house, you already know who to go to. If you want to fix your teeth, you know who to go to. But hey, if you want to fix your emotions, who do you go to? You number? Oh, it's rain. You number it, you freeze it, or you fight, or you distract it. I don't know if we distract our car, if it will still function well. I don't know if we distract our houses or behave like we're not noticing that the roof is leaking, if anything is gonna be okay. I don't know if we distract ourselves from tooth pain. It will function normally. But why do we distract ourselves from emotional conditions that are not pleasant? Why? Why do we do distraction? Why? Maybe because we don't see emotions. But you know what? Remember, emotions drive people. People drive the bottom line. So what are the types of intelligences we have? 6 major types. Some people are saying it's more than 6, but let's just keep it here. So you have happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, surprise. The question I would have for you is, where did you learn how to express the emotion of happiness? Because it's a muscle. Don't think that everybody jumps up when they are happy. No. I don't think that everybody cries when they are sad. No. A number of them, to a large extent, they are learned behavior. So where did you learn the behavior, how to respond to happiness? How did you learn how to respond to sadness? How did you learn how to respond to when you get money? When someone insults you, when it looks like somebody is taking you for granted, where did you learn your responses? Remember, events, interpretation, repetition. It locked it up in the different boxes. It became your rule book. And before you ever act, rule book shows up first. So where did you learn how to express all of these emotions? Because these are basic emotions. You are going to be angry someday. You're going to be happy someday. You're going to be sad someday. You have fear someday. But where did you learn what gets you angry, what makes you happy, and then how to express it? That is an assignment you want to go home and sit down and take your pen and paper and really, really look into. If the person that taught you happiness, how to express happiness and what to be happy for, it's someone that believes in work little, enjoy more, what would you end up doing? You will work little and enjoy much more, because there are a lot more things to enjoy with now. And then end of the day, you are broke. Not because you don't have capacity, but because you learned. If the person that taught you fear is afraid of everything, afraid of darkness, afraid of rats, afraid of, and the person is so afraid that even once he sees it, he jumps up and destroys things. You are going to do that. It's not because of the rats. We explained it. No, it's something you learned. If the person that taught you anger is so that once he or she is angry, the person is screaming and cursing and vibrating, you know the thing that you didn't like it when they were doing that. You didn't like it, but they were not showing you any better. So the problem, let me even have this conversation with parents that will listen to this episode. The issue is not just that you are showing anger in a disempowering way, in a way that kills, that tries to reduce the genesis, cover up the genesis in people. The major problem is that you are not teaching the children how to process anger. You're not helping them develop anger management muscle. So even though they don't like your behavior, they don't have a tool. Men and brethren, if you don't like something, but you don't have a tool, what would you do? You will deal with what you saw, because a lot of the times that's what the brain understands through modeling. So you see, it's not about they will turn out well. It's about what muscles am I developing? What mental muscles am I equipping those children with in the way I show up every day? In the way I handle family issues, in the way that I handle finances, in the way that I handle fear, in the way that I handle surprise, in the way that I handle sadness. What mental muscle am I not developing? What mental muscle am I not developing? Very important question for parents. And even for bosses, so far you have people under you. The way that you react to events, what mental muscle are you developing within your team? The leader is the lead of the organization. The lead is the, so I have a bottle here. The leader is the lead, the cover. That's what John Maxwell said.
Wow, wow. Uche, thank you so much for all that you have poured out today. This is the much we can take for tonight. We have to continue this next week. It has to continue next week. So we're going to sign it off tonight because of time, and we'll continue next week. If you have people around you, please share this with them. Share with them, and then let them know that this teaching continues next week. I'll see you next week. God bless you. Good night.